One of my moss poles fell this morning. Do you see my marble queen? I just had a feeling, you know what? I'm getting ready to chop all these poles and take them all off. And it just had to give me one last fall before I got ready to do this. You know, it just one last, here you go. I'm going to go ahead and fall and cause more work for you. The globe and everything shattered. So it had a little bit of fertilizer in it because it wouldn't drain. And so I don't know what made it top heavy, but it shattered all over the floor in there. So yeah, I'll pop on randomly throughout the day and kind of check in and share some of this process with you and kind of keep you updated and how things are going. Hopefully my emotions don't take over. I know I'm going to be sad getting these all chopped, but I'm also ready. I think I've been dwelling on it for several months now, and I think I'm just ready. I'm at a point where I'm ready to transition them and move on from the moss. All that's left of Monstera esqueleto, a top cutting. I was just thinking back about how huge this plant was in my collection. It's kind of sad, but it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna be much happier. It's sad chopping all these huge plants that I took. It took me so long to grow, but I know just not having to deal with the moss and everything, it's just I'm gonna be able to love these plants and put so much more care, like better care into them now. So I was gonna say goodbye to this one, but because this is a top cutting, I'll stick this one in water, root it, and then I will pot it up and just let it regrow. It's gonna come in with much smaller leaves, but that's okay. I'll continue to prop this in the future as a mother plant. I was also able to get 7 nodes. Look at how chunky some of these were, right? Look how cool. So each one of these little nodes will produce a new plant. That is the node right there. So I'm going to stick these in a propagation bin with high humidity, light, and warmth. And in some time, it's going to shoot some new roots out from the back. And this node will activate and I'll have 7 baby plants to let go of in my future for my shop. So each base that the plant was potted in, I will wash these out, clean them, clean the pot really good. And I'm also actually going to just be recycling the soil that's in a lot of these plants because this is my aroid mix and it is kind of expensive and it's like good ingredients and I don't want to waste this. I'm not really too concerned with like bug larvae because I have had a mealy issue in here. And also the clear poles I'm not going to throw away or waste. I will wash these out, reuse them, and I will just use these for support without anything in here like I've been doing. And this is the root system of the esqueleto. So this was what was inside of the pole. A lot of these roots are just dried up. And unfortunately, I can't like reuse or save this moss because it's just there's so many roots in here that there's really nothing I can do. So I feel like this is so wasteful and not very, like seeing all the moss that I've used for all these poles, it really just has me thinking like it is so wasteful. I'm gonna let these ends callus for a bit while I tackle another moss pole and then I'll stop and take care of these because I don't want these to dry out for too long. I have noticed if these wet sticks dry out for too long, they do induce more rotting. So I want to get these taken care of within the next couple of hours. So I'll make some propagation bins in the middle of doing all these and I'll kind of share some of that. So I'll set those aside and then all these I'm going to sit aside and I will make a big pile of everything to hand wash at the very end. And yeah, that's going to be my process for all these poles. And like I said, I'll keep you updated as I go through and do the same process. Now, for some of these plants, the top cuts, I'm not going to cut away the root system. I'm going to try and save the root system with the top nodes so that I can immediately replant it. But for this one was overextended and I just decided to take a cutting and I'll just stick this in water. But I'm gonna try and save as many of the top node roots as I can. I found a couple mealybugs hanging out on the bottom part of my sodiroi, so I dumped the soil. I didn't want to chance it, and I cut all the leaves off the bottom part of the plant, so those are all my wet sticks. I have a lot in here. I have 3 empty poles I can wash out, and this is my top section. So I dug away all the moss that I could, and this is all the roots. That's it. So I'm just going to pot it up with these roots. I could let this grow in water for the time being, but I think it'll be fine if I go ahead and pot it up, probably in like, I don't know, it's a pretty heavy plant, so I'm gonna have to probably stick with, I don't know, I might just do a 5-inch right now because there's not much of a root system, and then just keep it in the heavy ceramic. But this philodendron is so sticky. I didn't see any mealies on the top part. There was just a couple large ones hanging out on the bottom of the plant. It's very weird, but it's very sappy. That's the only thing about this philodendron that I don't like. It's all the nectaries. You can see all the sticky residue. I almost like the back side better than the front. Look how red the veining is on that. So before I pot this up, I'm gonna have to rinse this off in the shower, and I'm gonna spray it with some horticultural oil just in case, and rinse it and everything. And then I'll probably go ahead and pot this up so that these don't dry out, and then I'll move on. I'll probably go ahead and start a propagation bin too while I'm at it before I chop anymore. I'm kind of taking care of all the clear ones first because I feel like they're a little easier, because then when I go to take care of all the wire, I'm gonna have to actually start cutting the wire, and I figured I would just do those last. Hello, Editing Melissa coming at you. I forgot to turn the receiver back on my mic, so I was talking not realizing there was no sound. But I just wanted to pop on and say I decided to go with semi-hydro pond for this one. No particular reason other than the fact that it didn't really have a lot of roots, so I don't know. I just felt like doing pond for this one, so that's what you see me doing here. And you know, I do have a lot of philodendron and pond, and they do well, so I do have high hopes that this one will do just fine post chop. Okay, it's been a little bit. I wanted to go ahead and just quickly show you manjula. So the top half was empty and the bottom half of the pole still had moss. So I just chopped it, and so the bottom part, I cut the nodes up, and this is like the top half, and all of this was still in the moss, and this half here was not in any moss. So I'm going to plant this in soil. So I'll probably go ahead and fit most of this in a 7-inch, and this will start rooting, and then I'll probably end up putting this one on a core pole as well. She's so pretty. And then this one here was at the bottom. It's like a separate growth, and it has enough little roots of its own. It's like a top section. So what I might do with this is pot this up separately. And since these leaves are a little bit big, they're not huge, I might just like list this one in the shop once it roots a bit more. So yeah, I will get a pot and pot this guy up, and then we're gonna go ahead and start on the wire poles. So I think I am going to call it quits for tonight and I'm going to start back tomorrow. I took one wire pull off my epipremnum pinnatum elbow. I just made another propagation bin, so I have 2 full bins. I couldn't quite bring myself to get rid of all the big leaves. I didn't want to cut them all away, so I just kept a cutting of a couple. But we'll see. I may not end up keeping them after I think on it longer. I think I just need more time. Or I could just end up planting them outside. Who knows? Like the epipremnum elbow. I remember buying that plant back in like 2020. It's crazy. So I don't know if I'm ready to give it up yet. I thought I was, but I don't know. Hello again. It is the next day and I'm ready to go ahead and get started chopping the rest of these poles. I have shears, my wire clippers, and I'm ready to get this over with. I have 4 wire poles behind me that I still need to do, and then I took all the ones that were on the plastic ones off yesterday, and I have them actually down here in the corner, but I am going to be moving them all out so I can clean under this pole area really good. I just had to bring them back in so the cats wouldn't get into them last night. But yeah, I have 4 big ones behind me, my Glorious, my Cebu Blue, my Marble Queen, and my big adansonii. I'm gonna save the adansonii for last. I was thinking in my head yesterday, I'm like, do I just want to leave it on there and that way I don't risk it shocking? And then part of me is like, no, you don't want to leave it because it's another moss pole. You're not going to be wanting to come in here to water one pole multiple times a week. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take it off. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see when I get to it though, how I'm going to go about it. But I think I'm going to start with Cebu Blue because that one's pretty easy. I'm just going to do like a top section and then replant it like I did with my sodiroi. And then I think I'll work on Glorious next and Marble Queen. Marble Queen and adansonii are like my oldest poles, the ones that mean the most to me, so I'll leave those for last. Well, they all mean a lot to me. A lot of these poles are going on like 3 years old plus, because I did some of these in 21 and it is 2025, so they've been growing for a while. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this knocked out so I can get my huge mess cleaned up and finally just come into my plant room feeling just a lot less pressure, a lot less stress. At least my poles will be taken care of and I will work on chopping some other big plants in my collection over the summer. You could just hear the state of the moss. Let me get my microphone up to it. It is so crunchy. The moss on the bottom is so old and compacted, it's impossible to rehydrate these poles. Okay. I'm thinking, these are 2 new leaves and you can see she's a bit dehydrated. She's floppy, definitely wants water. So I'm thinking I might go ahead and just cut under like right here and do like a 4-leaf top section. I think that'll give me enough roots. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop right here. The vine is so small too. Compared to like my phyllos. It's nothing like Marble Queen. You see how thin the vine is? It's crazy looking at the poles that I have chopped already. Okay. And for the caging, I think I'll just keep it and I don't know what I'll eventually use it for. I can always use it as like a trellis maybe. Oh gosh. I should probably put some eye mask on. And we cut down here. I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this wire in half where I had chopped the vine. Just makes it easier to work with. I'll kind of walk you through this one and then I'll probably do Glorious. I might show you Marble Queen just because It's got a lot of new growth up top, and then, yeah, I'll do glorious in my own time, and then I'll show you how I'm going to end up chopping adansonii as well after I think on it. Okay. That's our top little section. You know what's nice is I will never have to mess with cutting wire poles again and making moss pole extensions. Okay. So cute. I will probably put this one in soil and substrate and let it grow. And then I'm thinking glorious. I wish I had some more self-watering pots. I don't have any. I have a couple plants in a 7-inch that I could take out that I'm downsizing, but I want to make a separate video for that. I put my sodiroi in pon, so I don't know. I'm either going to do pon or substrate for glorious. And then I was even thinking for adansonii I could do pon, but again, I don't have a pot. So I don't know. I might just end up doing soil for them all. And so yeah, I'm going to take all this off. I'm just going to clip all the individual nodes. I'm just going to cut the leaves off and just do wet stick propagations. And yeah, take this all the way off, and then I'll show you when I go to pot this all up. I thought it was going to fly at me that time. Oh, so crunchy. I hope it has enough roots that I can pot this up. I'm just throwing this on the ground. You see, this is what happens when the pole dries. The sheath, this is dry rot. The stringy, you see that? It's just like there's no saving this. I think I'm gonna have to stick this one in a thing of water before I pot it up, because yeah, there's no roots. These are just gonna rot if I plant them into soil. Yeah, I don't see any kind of a white healthy root at all, so oh well. That's okay. We're gonna have several water propagations until we can grow some healthy roots in. I'm actually, I was gonna say, I wonder if I should pluck a couple of these leaves so that it might yellow off some leaves. So because this plant doesn't really have any roots right now, a lot of these, they're pretty big leaves, and so there's not enough of a root system to sustain these. So this plant in turn might yellow off some of these older leaves in order to keep these newer ones alive. I'll just go ahead and keep all the leaves on and see what happens. If it decides to keep all of them, then I'll pot it up when it's time. Oh, she's pretty. I love cebu blue. So, all right, so we'll just do water for this one. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and do a big top cut on glorious. I'm literally going to do the same thing. If there's not enough roots, then I'll have to stick it in a thing of water until I can get some, because yeah, these moss roots are just so dry. They're not even really roots, they're just dead. So it is looking so empty on this wall. It is crazy. All right, I got glorious chopped. This is the top half. Look at this beautiful leaf. So same thing. I am going to see how many roots I have, and hopefully I can pot this one up. If not, we'll have to stick this one in water as well. Ugh. I hate when the caterpillar's still gooey. Ugh. It's so gross. Oh yeah, we have a new leaf too. So we are 2 nodes above the pole that do not have any roots, which is totally fine. As long as these have a couple roots, then I can pot it up. Let's see. I'm always afraid of which direction it's gonna fly. Oh, that's not good. There's like no roots. No roots in this one. Oh, we might have a good little root system in here, guys. That's exciting. Yeah, that's gonna take me a minute to get this clump of moss roots undone. So I'm gonna work on that and then figure out if I want to do soil or pond. We are back with Glorious. The new leaf had started to unfurl. After I rinsed it off, all the extra humidity like caused it to come open. I was rinsing all these in my shower and spraying with horticultural oil just to clean the leaves. And I let it sit for like 10 minutes and then I rinsed it so it wouldn't be sticky. Crazy. So the root system was actually pretty decent on the bottom node here. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and plant it into my aroid mix. I brought another 7-inch and that second node will reach so it can start rooting in here as well. And then we're gonna do a quart pole. Crazy how big these leaves are. This in the back, somewhere here. I guess just anywhere I can fit it. Okay. I'm gonna put some soil first. I do think I'm gonna have to go in the garage and make more mix though before I finish, which I don't really feel like it. Because this will definitely not be enough for the other 2 plants. Whoops, that was too much. Okay. All right, and we'll get this anchored on here once we get it potted up. I filled it up a little bit higher than normal so that this node here, some of those roots can root down there. And then once the plant roots in here, it'll be a lot more steady. I'll have to extend this one soon though, add a 3rd extension on. Okay. Let's take some of this string and kind of tie. What I might have to do is take a garden stake and anchor it on the back of this once it gets a little bit taller, because you can see it's leaning a bit because these leaves are heavy. But once I water this and once it roots up a bit in here, it'll be a bit more sturdy. It does come with a couple of these green stakes. I can always add this kind of to the back side for now and anchor it down here. That'll give it a little support for right now. Oh, whoops, that tie came undone. I'm also going to take some of this string and tie the petiole up a little bit. All right, I just have to add some water, but Glorious is all done. Look at her. I should probably tie this one up too. I'll let it unfurl, although it is kind of wonky. I'll go ahead and tie it up. But yeah, she's all done. Got the string, got the core pole, add some water. You guys, it's gonna be so nice not having to water poles. She might shock, I don't know, she might lose a lower leaf, but we'll see. Hopefully she doesn't shock. I felt like she had enough root system. I don't know how this leaf is gonna do though. It does appear a bit smaller than the latest one, which was huge. So that was definitely due to like underwatering and obviously like being off the pole, it's going to size down without any support. Hello, it is editing Melissa again. I forgot to turn my mic back on. I was stopping it in between not filming so that the battery wouldn't drain because it takes a little bit to charge. But anyway, Marble Queen is up next, and what I was saying is I'm just going to do the top section where all that new growth has grown in. I had previously cut the top off of this pole because it was way overextended. So from me cutting the top off, all these new nodes started to activate. So I think I have like 4 growth points. I had one down lower, but I'm not going to include that one. I'm just chopping the vine here where I want to cut, and then I start cutting with the wire cutters all the way around the pole. It took me a minute to cut the vine because it was so thick. It's crazy how thick the vine is on the Marble Queen and the adansonii. But yeah, just chopping the wire all the way around. It's just easier to work with when I can remove the section that I want to remove. And yeah, she is all chopped, and now I realize here in the next clip that my mic wasn't on, so back into real time. I think my mic was off for that, gosh darn it. But what I was saying is I'm gonna take the moss out of here and see what kind of root system we're working with, and we'll work on getting this potted up. And I'm gonna chop all the nodes up on this one, and yeah, just chop all that away like I've been doing. I honestly am starting to have a little meltdown. Why am I about to cry over plants? I just got super emotional chopping up my Marble Queen. Look at this huge mess. I've been cleaning it up as I go, so you guys haven't really seen the mess. Piles of moss and everything, like hardened, crusty moss. Oh, Luna's awake. Hi, Luna. She must have known I was upset. Don't walk on that. No, don't walk on that. It was really hard. It's probably been at least 45 minutes, you guys, probably longer. So I had to end up like cutting the wire in really weird patterns in order to get the thicker roots out, because this was so compacted. Like I couldn't just pull, you know, because this big chunk isn't coming through these holes. So it was a mess. I think that's why I got so sad, because I'm like, I've been growing this plant for 3 years and this is like all that's left. I actually have 2 sections. So this was like on top down here. So I have this cutting with this node, and it has a little bit of root. I know a lot of this is probably dried up. And then this is what I've been working on. Like, look how thick the root is in the vine. It is so thick. So all this was like stuck in the moss. So it looks like I have 2 nodes from when I had chopped it. I have this node here, this growth, and then I have this node here. I think I might chop this section up so that each little piece can have its own root system. That way I can pot it up. So this would be like 2 cuttings. This would be like 3 cuttings. And look at these. These are the chunks. The bottom part, I had already taken it off already. Look at this. Look how thick that chunk is. Do you see that? That is insane. Look at the the girth of that. That piece is big, and look at this piece too. Like, that is thick. But adansonii is like 2 to 3 sizes of these. Just wait till I show you the stem on that plant because it is crazy. I tossed a little bit more mix in here. Hopefully I have enough for both of these. And we're gonna go ahead and get Marble Queen potted up. I feel a little bit better. I was getting sad there for a minute, and then I made another core pole. So before I pot this up, I want to figure out where to cut. Honestly, I could take this little clipping off since it has some roots and just toss this one. But since this is a big leaf, I think I might leave it on until it yellows. I think I will. And this, I think we might cut in multiple spots because, yeah, that's going to be too long to actually pot up. So, look at that thick stem. It's so thick. So this was the node that came out of here, this one here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and cut right here. And so we have this section with its own little root system. And this node is dead. This node, this grew out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut here. And so this is dead. This is nothing. So we're going to toss that. Look how cute this is though. I mean, those are still decent sized leaves, you know. It's so cute. I honestly just like this. I like this too. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this leaf here. We're just gonna cut that off. I try to get as much moss as I could off of these, but a lot of these roots are a bit dead. But I think that's okay. I think I'm just gonna pot these in here. I'm wondering if I should even try to pot this one, because I feel like 3 is a lot. Oh, this one is doing half moon though. I like half moon. Oh, even the new leaf is half moon. Oh no, this one's a bit damaged. I'm gonna cut this one. I see you, Chai. This one's a bit damaged too from when it fell. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that away. You know what, I think I'm just gonna get rid of this big leaf. I'm just gonna cut it. Yeah, we'll add this one because it's during half moons. I'll just add this little one in here in the front maybe. Something like that. And do this one down here. Yeah, Chai. Okay. Not right now, Chai. Yeah. Oh, I know. You're so sweet, Kim. Oh, yeah. He always wants cuddles when I'm in the middle of doing stuff. Yeah, I know. You gotta wait a little bit. Daddy's home. Go to Daddy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, being cute. Say, I'm being cute. That actually feels really nice. You're so funny, Chai. Oh, look at my marble queen. Aw, I actually really like her a lot better. This size, I don't know, it's more manageable. Look how short she is. I'm gonna feel so much better about not underwatering her every freaking week. Yesterday morning when she crashed and I saw her fall like on the floor, I just like knew, I'm like, I feel like it was a sign that this was meant to happen, because yeah, now I won't feel bad anymore. You trying to get the string? All right, Marble Queen is all done. What'd you think? Yeah? Yeah? Ooh, I did not think I was gonna get so upset. It's probably because I was taking some photos of her just a little bit ago so that I could remember her like this. It's not like these plants I'm not gonna have anymore, and they're gonna continue to grow. I just feel like, I don't know, my moss pole journey was such, I don't know, it spanned over, I started her in 2021. That is crazy. It's been almost 4 years. It's a long time to care for a plant and get it to this size. It's crazy. Luna's coming in now. We lost Chai, now Luna's here. Hi, Lune. So yeah, time to start chopping. That's insane. I haven't measured this newest leaf, but it is literally crazy how big it is. I can't wrap my head around it. Like, to have this inside of my home right now, like this should be outside in nature. Like, what is this? It is crazy. It is so beautiful. Okay, there's her entirety. Her wingspan is crazy. Luna agrees. So I'm thinking I might be chopping these leaves away, and I'm not really liking this one as well. I'm just thinking about wingspan. This one's kind of coming out this way too far. So I'm thinking I might chop her like right here. Oh, that is insane. I don't know how I'm going to separate that from the actual pole. I really don't. The thickness of that, that's crazy. And it's just like all intertwined here. We've lost a lot of leaves down this way, so this is kind of bare. I think she has enough roots like up in here that I can try and salvage, that I can cut like right here. And then I actually might take this chunk and just root it up and just see what happens out of there. I think I might pot her into this pot because I don't really have anything big enough to support this plant. I might look and see. Actually, I think I have a nursery pot out in the garage, like a black one, that I could plant her in and then use this to like sit that in. Don't mind the white powder. That was diatomaceous earth. I had sprinkled some in here when she had mealies. I had sprayed her down 3 times with horticultural oil and sprinkled some DE, and it got rid of the mealies. I haven't seen any mealies on this plant in like 6 weeks or something. So yeah, I think I might go ahead and cut away the leaves that I don't want, and then yeah, we'll get to chopping her and seeing if we can get this root system up out of here. I'm gonna get rid of this leaf here, but I do want to get rid of some of these. This one was a huge leaf. Wow. Holy heck, look at the size of this leaf, you guys. Holy moly, it's huge. Oh, I might have cut in the wrong spot. I think I cut low, too low on one side. Whoops. Whoa, timber. Whoa. Holy heck, look at that thing. Oh gosh. That is craziness. This is absolutely crazy. Look at that. Crazy. I was just taking more photos, but I got somewhat of my mess cleaned up a little bit, and I found a bucket out in the garage. So I think what I'm gonna do is do a base layer upon for heavy support, and then just throw my aroid mix on top and plant her in my aroid mix. And then I'll set this in the other pot once I empty that out. She is so freaking huge right now. So I think what I'm gonna do is, I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I'm gonna do my best to save and salvage as many roots as I can. And yeah, just kind of mess with that. And then I'm going to do the same routine, take her to my shower, hose her off, and then pot her up. But I'll come back on and show you at least the root system that I'm working with, and hopefully she doesn't shock. It is dark outside now. I am so tired. I feel so sleepy. This took so long to do, you guys. Like, look at this. What the heck? I got as much moss as I could off of these roots. This was what was inside the pole. And like, I'm bleeding. That wire, I am not gonna miss messing with wire. Like, my nails are all broken and dirty. I will not miss moss poles at all. But yeah, look at all these nodes too. I don't know if you can see. Ugh. Look at all these nodes, growth points, axillary buds. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're so cool. So like I said, one of these may activate since I chopped it, or multiple may grow as well. But I think this whole thing can fit into the pot that I have here. I'm gonna plant in this bucket. Ooh, some of those roots, it's not gonna be tall enough. I'll have to cut some of those extra roots. So this is gonna fit in here. I drilled an extra hole so that, it's a big hole, but I don't care, so that it could fit. There's like a hole inside of this white one. And then I made one more core pole. So yeah, we're gonna plant this in here with a core pole. I was gonna do pon as a base layer, but when I took the base out of the bottom of here, there were so many rotted roots. I think it's just because it was potted into the white pot, and I had mixed so much pon into it for weight when I initially like put this plant in there. And so I think it just was not getting any airflow at all. And whatever was draining down from the moss pole was just sitting in there, lack of airflow. So everything just rotted with all the extra pon. So I just got rid of that whole entire base. And yeah, let me let me switch angles here. One of the leaves did crack, the small one. So now we're left with 5 leaves on this thing. So hopefully I don't break any more. And hopefully this plant doesn't shock. I am just absolutely beat. This was so much work to do in 2 days. I knew it was gonna be a lot of work. Like, chopping one moss pole is a lot of work, but chopping this entire wall of moss poles, I overdid it for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and cut another section here. Let's see. Ooh, I have a node. I have one more growth point. Okay, I think that's good. I don't want to chop any more away. Okay, let me put some soil down in here. Don't break. I'm so worried that these other leaves are going to break. I'm kind of glad that other one came off in a way, because I feel like this plant doesn't really have enough roots to support all these leaves that are left. So I was a little worried about that. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? Ugh. Shoot, that one's not big enough. Oh well. Let me Velcro this for a minute, so that way they're not going to fall. Okay, I need to switch because I'm right-handed. I can't scoop with my left hand. Making such a mess. I feel like at this point I just don't care anymore. I'm just like ready to be done. I really hate to waste these, but I don't really have a choice. These are my 1 pound bag of aroid mix that I sell on my site. Gonna have to do. I may not have to use that one. Ugh. I'm gonna try and get this top layer of roots here to grow down. Oh my God, I am so utterly exhausted. Okay. Wow. I wish these leaves were all flat like this, all facing forward instead of growing up. Well, I know why they're growing up, because there's an overhead grow light, but there's also a forward light, but they definitely seem to be reaching for the overhead light. I really hope she doesn't shock. Well, I know why she was probably yellowing now. Well, because the roots in the pole kept drying out, but then the base was like suffering from root rot because the pole couldn't drain because I couldn't lift it up because it was so heavy. I'm glad I did all this. I really am. And I have one more chunk piece. So yeah, it was a bit of an emotional day. It's crazy looking back and seeing how short everyone is. Like, that's it, you guys. Minus my gigas, it's right here because I need to still extend the gigas. I just have it sitting right there. And then I still need to make one more thing, a propagation bin. I have 2 there, and then I have to wash out all the dirty pots and moss pole stuff and everything. You know what would look really good is a different plant shelf. Ugh. Instead of that, I could get like a different shelf and style it a little differently. Good morning, you guys. I'm popping back on. It is actually Sunday, and I didn't come on yesterday at all because I had so much to do. So it's been, I think I chopped the first poles Thursday, And then I chopped the rest of them with adansonii on Friday. I finished up Friday, like late kind of Friday night. So yesterday was another full day, and then it's about 10 o'clock Sunday morning. And I figured I would give you a little update on the poles and how they're doing. It might sound a little echoey in here just because I don't have these huge poles anymore. It's like I have a blank space, but I'm really excited to restyle and kind of redo this space. So everyone is shoved back here in the corner until I can actually, get them set up. But you guys, this makes me feel so much better having no freaking moss poles. I can't tell you how, like the feeling I'm feeling right now, knowing that I don't have to come in here and try and water these poles. I don't see any kind of stress so far, and hopefully her leaves, like I said, turn a little bit more forward. I do have one grow light here, one Barina that's on in front of them, and then I have the overhead light, and then of course there's the window. So I'm gonna let them continue to get this light until I can rearrange. So I have 4 plants in water. I have Majestic, Epipremnum albo, I have Esqueleto down there on the floor, and then epipremnum cebu blue. So the cebu blue I'm definitely keeping. I'm going to probably do that one in semi-hydro since it's gonna grow in some water roots. And then I don't know if I'm keeping these 3. I just couldn't get rid of the leaves. I might pot them up and just keep them growing so I can prop them in the future. I haven't fully decided, but if these leaves decide to yellow before I can get new growth, then I'm probably just gonna not grow them. So we will see. I changed the water again on the water vessels. I just rinsed them off because sometimes when you freshly put these big plants in a thing of water to propagate, like the top cuttings, they get the water gets icky really quickly and you don't want that bacteria to sit. So I may have to change the water out a couple more times this week. I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. And then the pothos here, the Jessiana, I potted that top cutting up. It had a huge root system because I had it in water for a bit. And so there's 2 places that will grow. And so that will just climb up the core pole. I may not get these huge leaves again, but that is okay. And then Glorious is doing okay too. The new leaf is starting to unfurl a bit more. It doesn't seem like it's shocked any. I don't really see any yellowing or anything. It did have a little bit of a root system. And then the sodiroi, I put that one in pon, and that one's doing okay so far. Again, I haven't noticed any kind of yellowing or any stress. Manjula seems to be hanging on and doing well too. And Marble Queen, her leaves actually look better to me. I feel like they were constantly being underwatered, but I can just tell how firm and how like perked up this plant has been since I chopped it. And it's crazy to think that my huge Marble Queen is this small, but honestly, I'm so happy to have it like be a more manageable size. And then the only one that I didn't get to is my Gigas. I do need to upsize that one. It's not super urgent. And then because I don't have any more aroid mix, I need to make more. I'll just do that a different day. But yeah, that one needs to go up to a 7-inch pot. So I'm very happy everyone is doing well after, 2-3 days. And I'm glad so far nobody has shocked or anything. And I just can't explain the feeling, you guys, of knowing that I don't have to come in here and water these freaking poles anymore. I'm just so excited about it. And I know once I get my shelf and the photos, like I'm gonna love this wall. So just to kind of sum this up, if you're looking to do the same, my biggest advice is so you're not jeopardizing growth. If you wanna air layer first, say your plant has extended or reached the top of the pole and where you wanna chop at doesn't have any roots, you can air layer it, get some roots, chop it, then plant it right away. Or you can do what I did with some of these and just do the top cutting and then stick it in water. If you do that route, sticking it in water, there is more of a chance that the cutting could maybe rot away. The leaves will yellow off because it doesn't have a root system to sustain the huge leaves. So there is a chance that it may not make it that way. So if you want to guarantee the health of your plant, I would honestly air layer first, get some roots, chop that top section, replant it, and then put it on like a stake or a core pole. Luckily, some of these did have some roots in that top section, so I removed the moss away. So I did that with adansonii, the Glorious, with sodiroi, and then I did that with the manjula pothos. and the marble queen. They all had a little bit of roots, so I was able to pot those up. If you take more of the pole with you, if you want more length and not just a top cut, you are going to be, there for a while plucking all of that moss away, because you don't want too much moss hugging the roots and then planting all that moss and roots into your substrate, because that moss is going to hold moisture. And so that, in combination with you watering the plant, it can lead to root rot issues. So I would definitely try to remove as much of the moss as you can. It was really hard with adansonii. I did have a lot of moss left, but I did my best, and I'm just gonna be mindful of watering her and not, going crazy or anything. She may not need water for a good 10 to 14 days even after the initial chop, but I'll see how it goes, because in this room, like I said, it does get very warm in here. It's very hot and things do dry pretty quickly. She is in a pretty chunky mix as well, so that is going to allow for a lot of airflow, a lot of oxygen, which is really going to encourage those roots to regrow and shoot out all those secondary roots into the substrates. A lot of the growth is going to come in smaller because I did chop everything away, but if I allow them to keep climbing, they will get bigger leaves again. But we'll see. Like I said, I may let some of them continue to climb and get big, and then the rest I'm probably going to continually chop back. I do think they're all going to be okay though, and yeah, I'm happy. I'm glad that I did this, and I can just move forward and yeah, just not have to worry about moss anymore. Okay, I moved you. It is so bright in here with the grow lights and everything. But yeah, that's kind of it and everything. It's crazy. I don't know. It's crazy, like my moss pole journey, 4 years of growing plants on moss poles, 4 years of watering them twice a week and everything. It's just over the past year, looking back, I had 37 moss poles a year ago, and I don't know what I was thinking. And just thinking back to those days, I really loved them at one point, but now that I'm so busy, I'm just so glad that I can just move on from the moss pole era. So I will update in about 30 days. So probably the beginning of June. It is May. Yes, it is May. It is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. So yeah, I will update probably the first week in June. And like I said, I'll give you an update on all the growth, how we're doing. I'm probably going to go ahead and pot the propagations up as soon as I get some roots. And I'm going to get the shelf built, hang the photos up, and rearrange this corner. So I'll give you a little look at all that in that video. So I'm excited for that one. I hope this maybe gave you a little motivation if you are looking to do the same and take some of your plants off moss poles. I know I feel 10 times better today. So again, thank you so much for being here and for watching, and I will talk to you later.